Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to Facebook Live, and today I'm joined with a very good friend of mine, Carl Amory from the UK. Carl is one of the most respected network marketers in the UK, and today we're going to be learning how to career transition. So Carl, thanks for joining me. You've got an amazing story.
Yeah, good morning, Daniel. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. And it's one that I wish I had known about before I left Emirates Airline. Because when I did my career transition, I made some massive mistakes. And I know that a lot of people around the world starting their own businesses, desiring to get into business right now, is that one of the biggest blocks for them is having that career transition. So can I dig inside of your head for 15 to 20 minutes and get out all that good information?
Well, that's what I'm on the call for, Daniel. So you go ahead. You dig as much as you want.
Let's do that. So you're currently in a career transition. You're building a business. How have you managed to succeed doing this while so many people fail? What are you doing to create a transition blueprint that most people aren't?
That's a really good question, Daniel. And I think, I'm just saying there's a lot of people coming on now. So good morning to everyone. Justine Fisher, Joe Eva, good morning. And yeah, it's a great question, Daniel. And I think the main one for me is that I had a final outcome that I had in my head. I knew where I wanted to go and I knew what I wanted to achieve. Now, a lot of people start new things and they kind of don't have any guidance or they don't have any final outcome. They kind of just join and think, I'm going to see where this takes me. I'm going to give it a go and see what happens. So, that sort of attitude is kind of like, you're not really going to get anything. If you imagine a pinball in a pinball machine, just bouncing off walls and, I might fall down the hole and I'll just have another go and then bounce, bounce, bounce. There's no direction and there's no actual final outcome. So goals, if you like. And I had some very clear goals that I wanted to achieve. And it was kind of like, right, these are my goals. How do I achieve them? This is what I need to do. And that was kind of my initial start point, was putting down on paper what I needed to do and how I was going to get there. And that was it. And, and the rest is kind of history. And I'm still working towards a lot of those goals now, but a lot of them have been ticked off too. So yeah, goals from the beginning. And how you're going to get there. And obviously things are going to get in the way. Things are going to stop you from achieving those goals. But then again, that's the difference between those who want to succeed and those who say they want to succeed. But when something gets tough, they kind of fall off the radar. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. In terms of the duration of time, how long have you been planning your transition for? When did you start?
I think the day I started was the day I decided that, I've been in the military now for almost 18 years, and I love the military. I've had a great time. I've always respected the army and what it's done for me. I've been to some great places, some great experiences, and I've met some incredible people as well. So that'll never be taken away. And you can't buy that experience. That's stuff that you've got to go through in order to achieve that experience. So I'm very, very forever grateful for that. But there comes a time, like anyone, and I'm sure there's people on this call who are maybe in the same spot where, they just thought, what, this is not me anymore. I'm just not feeling as I did maybe 5 years ago or 10 years ago in a job that I loved. So it was probably September, October in 2016, last year, where I made the decision, consciously or unconsciously, I don't even know. It was kind of like, I've had enough. I can't do this anymore. I've found something else, which I believe is going to be spectacular. And I need to go for it. I need to go for it because I'm not happy in my current situation. So that was in September last year, October, I'd say, where I actually made the decision. And since October last year, that's where it got real. It was kind of like, right, I've cut ties now with my military career. Again, like I said, it's done everything for me. I've had a great time, but now it's time to move on. So what do I need to do in this period to get to where I need to be. So it was September last year I made a decision, and that's when it got real. It was kind of like, right, this is real now. All that security is going to be gone. You know, the army housings, we're actually housed by the army, and they help us with funding. Debbie, I definitely can have dentists with this, Carl. Dentist? Okay. Not sure if that's meant to say dentist. But, I actually wanted to be a dentist before I joined the army. So that's but yeah, so it was the September last year I made a decision, and then it was kind of like all these things that I have to tick off before I leave, and I'm still going through that now. So yeah, some big things coming up, some real big things coming up, which I'm not going to go into just yet, but exciting as well, but scary. It's got to be scary.
Absolutely. You know, one of the things there, and I'll just repeat it here, was having goals and objectives and ticking them off. For a lot of people, if you don't have a goal, if you don't have an objective, you never get free drugs. And when you're transitioning, you want to have a lot of drugs. And those drugs are dopamine. When you make that decision and there's a new destination and you've got those goals and outcomes, you start to get a flood of dopamine in the body. When you start to chase them, you get adrenaline. And when you achieve them, you get serotonin. So you have this great chemical combination and reaction, chemical reaction inside of the body, which helps you go through. It helps you face those fears and those things that you've got to go up against, which gets us into the second question. And I know that a lot of people always fear this type of stuff, is that there's going to be internal conflicts. There's going to be external conflicts. What are some of the ones that you've faced, and how did you rise against those conflicts?
That's another great question, Daniel. And you know what? Every single person, whoever's watching, you know, whoever gets to watch this call a bit later on, everyone has external and internal conflicts with whatever it is. Even getting out of bed in the morning, you've got a conflict because your mind tells you not to get up because you're too tired and you don't want to get up. It's painful to get out of bed when you don't feel like getting out of bed. I mean, who likes getting out of bed in the morning? Nobody likes to get out of bed, but it's a conflict. We have kind of a conversation in our head that says, no, stay in bed for another 20 minutes because you're tired. Whereas the other side say, no, you know you need to get up. But this side say, nah, just stay in bed. It's fine. It's easier to stay in bed. And 97% of people will hit the snooze button and roll over. So there's a conflict for you right away, as soon as you wake up in the morning. So for me, and this is probably a lot of other people as well, when you've been in a career for so long, whether it's corporate world, whether it's military, whatever it is, you kind of develop security blankets. You know, you're guaranteed your little wage at the end of the month. You're guaranteed whatever else it is that the company or the establishment provides you. For example, for us in the military, you get dental care, you get medical care, all included in the package. You also get, like I said earlier, a house which is kind of not funded. We still pay for the house, but it's a lot cheaper than what you would pay if you weren't in the military. All the other things, the guaranteed money, the perks and the benefits. So that's kind of like a massive security woolen blanket that's wrapped around you from the beginning. So when somebody says, right, that's gonna be gone, and you're kind of like on your own, that's scary. It's a scary thought. Now, every single person who's in a job or whatever it is they're doing will have that form of security. So when you suggest stepping away from that, that is, I'm not sure, would that be internal or external? I think it's a bit of both.
Well, there's a little bit of both there. There's that comfort internally, and there's that security that's provided externally that you don't have to go and fight for yourself. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I think for me, the biggest one was knowing that whole security blanket is being pulled away, and I have to kind of just make stuff happen with or without the military. It's up to me now. My destiny, I know it sounds cheesy, but my destiny is it's dictated by me now. I run my own day, I run my own hours. Whatever, you know, income I get at the end of the year was down to me. It's not, this is how much you get paid for this many hours. If I want to make this much, I do this. If I want to make this much, I do this. So, but we're going a bit off subject. the actual conflict for me was definitely the security that I've got with the military and stepping away from it, because I joined the army at 16. It's all I'd ever known. So that for me was a big one. And the amount of battles that I've had in my head, like, no, you need to stay. No, you need to go. You need to stay. Honestly, every day, even now, there's still that little guy on my shoulder going, come on, Carl, what are you doing? This is stupid. You're being ridiculous. You've got this, you've got a pension, you've got a guaranteed income, you this and that and the other. And then the other side of me is saying, don't be weak. Come on, get a grip. You've got potential. You've got so much going on. You need to make the move and go. So, I always listen to this one. But this one pops up now and again.
And what you said there, and you said something similar on Facebook a couple of weeks ago, the first battle is that, do I get out of bed in the morning? And you also said on Facebook the other week, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it was a 5-second interval that you had. If you didn't shut that internal voice down within 5 seconds, it won. So you had to get up and do it within 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Was it 5 seconds or thereabouts?
Yeah. So some people is quicker. Some's going to be 2 or 3 seconds. Average, I think it's about 5 seconds. But if you don't, and it happened this morning. On a weekend where your routine kind of goes out of sync a little bit, and then Monday morning comes, and most people, whether we like it or not, they hate Monday mornings. Absolutely hate Monday mornings. And if you don't make that decision to get up on a Monday morning and attack the day in that 5-second period, and it kind of it spirals and snowballs into your daily routine, your weekly routine. So it's kind of like changing your mindset to just take action straight away. Just take action. Before 5 seconds. Otherwise, your mind will just talk you out of it. You want to do the minimum. You want to do the easy thing, and you'll hit the snooze button and roll back over. So it's kind of changing your patterns.
Here Rowan Mills says, we all have trepidation leaving the military, but I love this new chapter of my new life, but I never regret serving.
No.
This is never about regret, is it? It's about what's next, because we can keep doing the same thing and we can keep getting the same result. Now, if you want that same result, more power to you. But if there's a different result, then you need to start making better decisions. And what I love is how you say it starts in the first thing in the morning. Your unconscious mind operates 24 hours a day. It sleeps you, it breathes you, but it's also the part of you that makes decisions. And if we let it make bad decisions, we actually reinforce the bad decision and the failure mechanism. If we make one bad decision at the start of the day, it's really hard to make a good decision for the rest. An example for me is that if I oversleep in the morning, I end up missing out on my gym. If I end up missing out on my gym, my physical energy doesn't really get going till about 7 or 8 o'clock at night. And so all of a sudden I'm pumped up, ready to go to work, and the rest of the family's having family time. So then I miss out on family time. Then I struggle going to sleep till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday cascades. But coming to that time of the decision, and making a decision is crucial. It comes back to emotional intelligence. We've got to have emotional intelligence to constantly make good decisions. But making a small one, it doesn't take much to make a small decision. But that one small decision definitely has a ripple effect, whether you stay in something that you love or achieve something that you want, or get stuck wherever you are and then complaining about it for the rest of your life. So essential. Now, these internal battles and external battles, is there, maybe you've got some magic that nobody knows about. Is there a little magic trick up your sleeve that you've got that says your internal battles go away? Because I think that's probably the belief of a lot of people.
Well, I've got one of those Paul Daniels magic sets in the garage, which is still in the cellophane wrapper, so I don't think it's that. Yeah, but so yeah, there is no magic formula, Daniel. I mean, people have looked for it. People have looked for this magic formula that's going to change their lives and change everything. But I put it down to about three real simple things, which if you apply every day and you change your kind of personal philosophy on life in general, then everything changes. Absolutely everything. Finances, relationships, your daily life, your happiness, everything changes. And it's an easy ABC. And A is attitude, B is belief, and C is consistency. That's it. The three things. ABC. No one can forget that because it's easy. It's the
belief, consistency.
That's it. If you can get good at those and have a good attitude about everything you do, have a good attitude, have a good, an I can do attitude. Because too many people are, they're too negative, and that's just the way most people are programmed. As they watch too much news, too many newspapers, and then you kind of fill your mind with negativity, and then you just become negative. So you have to break that pattern somehow by reading something positive, listening to something positive, but making that part of your daily life. So attitude, change it. Have a good attitude. It's like what's that quote? A bad attitude is like a flat tire. It won't go anywhere unless you change it. So change that tire. And that's so true. Believing in yourself. You have to believe in yourself, otherwise, nobody else will. So you have to have belief, even when those voices are telling you no, other people are doubting you. You have to believe in you for other people to believe in you, and that's crucial. So, and the last one's consistency. It's too easy to maybe do 3 or 4 days of yes, I believe in myself, my attitude is good. 2 or 3 days, and then on day 4, back to normal, and then nothing happens. Then it's got to be consistent. It's got to be part of you and part of your daily life.
This attitude that you mentioned is so important. Psychologists call it about locus of control, and it's essentially we have to ask ourselves, where is the place of control? Attitude is 100% in your control. You control it. Doesn't matter what's happening outside. It's an internal job. Belief is 100% in your control. And then the third one, C, was it consistency? Consistency is 100% up to you. Everything that you want exists in here. And if people just harnessed the A, B, and C, they'd realize that they're more powerful than they ever could have possibly considered possible. Attitude, 100% in your control. In the Carnegie studies, they said 85% of success came down to your attitude. And then only 15% came down to knowledge and skill. Now, I'd probably assume that going from the military into your new career is that knowledge and skill was quite easy to obtain. You can take trainings for knowledge. You can do skills-based training. But it's only 15% of the success. So your success is coming back to the ABC, which is the attitude, the belief, and the consistency.
For sure.
And if people could just adopt that, they could produce the exact same results as you, maybe even better.
Yeah, for sure. I think
they just had that.
Yeah, I think the world that we live in now is too many people want something now. It's like, I want it now. I'm going to join this new thing, or I'm going to start a business, or I'm going to start the gym, whatever it is, and they want it now. It's kind of like you don't go to the gym once and be fit for life. You've got to do it most days, and that's like anything. You have to do it consistently. So yeah, but it's the world we live in. It's an instant world, isn't it? You get an app, you click a button, you want it instantly. You turn the TV on, you want it instantly. Yeah.
Credit card, done.
I want it instantly.
Just give it a little tap. What year were you born in?
83.
83. So we're on the back of the lay-by generation. And when we were young, you had to go and lay by something. You had to pay the price in advance. And you had to do it consistently, or they would put the toy back on the shelf. So you'd pay the price in advance, and then once you'd paid the price, you got the reward. But as the generations have changed, it's gone the other way. Get the reward now, and then pay for it for the rest of your life. It's a totally different thinking.
Absolutely. And that's where you know, credit cards and finance and whatever it is. Yeah, Gareth Tickop, I feel old now. It's because you are old. Only joking. Gareth Tickop, legend. And yeah, so you can get anything now, a click of a button, and like you say, you pay for it for the rest of your life, or for at least 5 years. So, yeah,
why not just take action? Absolutely. Let's put a question out there. On a scale of 1 to 10, and be really honest, how satisfied are you with your career right now? Be honest. If you love it, 8, 9, 10. If you hate it, 1, 2, 3, whatever it is for you, put it out there. So people are always worried about money. 84% of people sit behind their desks or behind whatever they do every day, and they're preoccupied about money. They make logical excuses not to leave their jobs because they're worried about money. You had the same concern. What was your secret of replacing your income? What are your secrets? What do you suggest to people?
I think I recently went to a Tony Robbins event in London, and it was brilliant. It was fantastic. And there was a saying which I'll remember forever, and I'm going to share it with everyone now. And that is, if you're in your head, you're dead. Simple saying. So what that means is you kind of create stories in your head. You kind of justify things. You try and make logical decisions based on what your mind is telling you. So, for example, finances. Right at the beginning, I was kind of like, if I leave the military, I won't be able to pay for this, and I won't have this, and I won't have it. I was in my head. But what Tony Robbins says is, if you just forget about your head's always going to make a logical, safe decision because it wants to protect you. That's just the way it works. But if you go, and again, I know this sounds cheesy, but if you go with your heart and you let that guide you, you know your gut feeling, you know what's right. And I just knew that it was right at the time, even though my head, because I was in my head, I was becoming dead, as they say, in your head, you're dead. So I just went with my heart. And then when I made that decision, it was kind of like, right, how do I do this now? You know, so what do I do in order to make the same money that I'm making now? How do I do it? Again, write some goals down, plan it out, and then stick with it each day. I need to do this every day to create this outcome. I need to do this every day to create this outcome. So then it was just a case of getting to work, you know, and that was it. And the ABC again, ABC, consistency is the main one. In the head, you're dead. Attitude, belief, consistency. It's all simple stuff. Very simple.
You don't need a university degree to have a good attitude. Well, as a matter of fact, you can go to university for your entire life and they will never teach you attitude.
No.
You can spend 17 years in school and you'll never learn how to set a goal. Belief, you can go through your entire schooling career and nobody will teach you how to have empowering beliefs. They'll never teach you how to get rid of your limiting beliefs. And they definitely don't teach you consistency because they reward mediocrity. You still get rewarded if you get 50%. It used to be like 80%, and then they dropped it down. So
you've got to think, you're totally right, and you've got to think of school. So you get taught certain syllabuses and certain criteria, which is told to be taught. Right, you must teach this in schools to pass this test. Now that is like the total opposite to consistency, because once you've learned what you need to learn to pass a test, that's it, done. There's your grade. You got a B or a C or an A. That's it. You don't need to learn that again. That's not consistent. You don't ever become that skilled in that area. You've just done what you need to do to get the pass. You've got a grade. That's done. Thank you. There's no consistency there, unless you go on to become a specialist teaching that subject. Whereas then you go on further education, then you get taught how to do it full time, you know, then you might become a geography teacher. And then, you know, you teach that to students to pass a test, and then they leave, and then you get the next lot in teach them to pass a test, get rid of them, teach them to pass, and that's just the way it is, life, until you break that cycle.
It's got to be broken. I mean, I look at my daughter here in Taiwan, and that's the school system here. It's the replication of knowledge. As long as you can regurgitate it, you don't have to know it. All you got to do is regurgitate it, and you'll get rewarded. And there's a lot of systems thinking here in Asia. But the true thinking that most people need right now, and when I studied with Dr. Edward de Bono, he said, you have to think entrepreneurially in all areas of your life. De Bono, although he wrote about psychology, talked about goals, immediate, short, medium, long-term goals. He talks about consistency. He talks about action taking as well. And these are the same things that you're talking about. It's not rocket science, and it's 100% in everybody's control. I mean, how powerful is that? 100% of what you need to succeed is right there. Attitude, belief, consistency. Get out of the head because you'll be dead. So, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you're writing this down because this stuff works. It's working for Carl. You know Carl. You've watched his journey and you've seen the amazing results that he's getting with himself, but also the other people's lives that he's touching. And for you, what do you see as the biggest mistakes? If you could point out a mistake to somebody out there who's struggling to do what they want, what would be the things that they're making? What are those mistakes?
There's always mistakes. You've got to make mistakes to progress and learn, how to become better. And by doing that, you make mistakes. If you don't make mistakes, you're not doing enough. There's a lot of things in life that people don't do because they're afraid they're going to make a mistake. But welcome mistakes, welcome the problems because you're going to get them anyway. But I would say one of the biggest mistakes that I made is trying to make people do what I want them to do when they don't want to do it themselves. I think that's the hardest, the biggest mistake that I made was, and that we've got kind of a saying in the industry where you're trying to make a chicken fly. So you've got a chicken that can't fly, it never will fly, and you're there really trying to make it fly. And I know that sounds, quite direct and to the point, but you can waste a considerable amount of time trying to make a chicken fly. So I would say that was one of the biggest mistakes I made. So you've got to find people who want it, people who are hungry and desire to succeed, and those who want to make this happen, not those who kind of want to make it happen, but are not prepared to do what it takes. Whereas then you put your energy and time into those people, and they don't even want it themselves. So the day that you want it more than them is the day you need to walk away and go and find somebody who wants it as much as you. And they say in this industry, if you find 4 people who are as willing and have as much desire as you, as much passion, who want to make it work as much as you, then you can have anything you want in this industry. But those 4 people are difficult to find, trust me.
But they're worth it.
So
they're worth it. I remember James put out a post on his Facebook page, and it talked about a network marketer. I think he might have been a founder in Amway. And he was talking about the number of people that he prospected and the conversations that he had. And I think it came down to 9 people. I think it all boiled down to 9 people, and 9 people made him a millionaire. It was a phenomenal amount of numbers. It's really not a lot. And if you do have that desire to find it, and if you've got a burning desire to have those goals, you will find a way. When we spoke offline before, I was in Dubai. I'd made it my home. We left. Wife had an accident. We'd been on a single income since maybe 2010, on one income since 2010. But we had to find a way to make it work. And I didn't want to stay being cabin crew any longer. I wanted to have my coaching business. So we moved to Taiwan. In Taiwan, my skill set was not valued. So we moved to Australia. And even then I applied for 300 jobs and I couldn't find a job. But I wasn't going to let it get in the way of what I wanted. So for 2 months, I knocked on doors and rang on bells, and my knuckles were bleeding and I found six figures. I found more than $120,000 worth of business because there was people out there who wanted what I had. And if I had the desire, I would find them. They weren't going to find me. I had to find them. And then eventually I couldn't get any further. So we moved back to Taiwan and I took a job teaching English and I was earning between $5 to $10 US an hour. But I did that because it gave me another shot, because my desire was so high that I took the $5 or $10 job so I could have another shot at the title. Reset for 6 months, wrote some books, came back to Australia, did more business, and all of a sudden I was back up to $20,000 and $30,000 a month. But it was that desire that pulled me through. And I loved how you touched on that. And I think for everybody, if you want it bad enough, you will find a way. If you want those 4 people bad enough, you'll find a way. If you want to get out of your current job, you will find a way if you've got enough desire.
Absolutely. 100%. And, you know, Daniel, in the organization, in the industry that I'm in and what we're doing, you know, I've got some phenomenal people in my team. Phenomenal. They'll be my friends for forever. I guarantee that. And you know, I've got quite a lot of people who are doing extraordinary things, and they, you know, they want it. They want it as bad as I do. You know, Chris Lear jumping on here now. He always says comments like that. He's just been in Thailand for the last few weeks, so he's back, and he's probably excited that he's come back. So he's put me off now, but. You find the right people, and like I said, I'm meeting with Chris this Wednesday, and we're going to have some coffee. And, you know, it's good to surround yourself with those sort of people. So we're going to sit down, we're going to write some goals, we're going to plan out the next few weeks. And what I would say is stay away from the people who kind of try and bring you down off cloud 9, because when you get up in the morning, you've got your goals written down, and you're adamant where you're going, but then you get other people who've kind of given up on themselves, they've kind of given up on their dreams, they're quite happy to live that mediocre life, which is fine. But don't surround yourself with those people, because they will try to bring you to their level. And what are you doing that for? Come on, come to this level with me where it's nice and safe. You know, you get the safe security, you get this at the end of the month, everything's safe and nice and easy. Nah, don't be around that. Get away from that. Get with the people who are on the same path as you. They want to do the same things as you. They've got goals. They've got aspirations, everything. Get with those people, get together and just charge forward. I'm telling you, if you do that with the right people, you're going to get some phenomenal results, and your life will change completely.
There's 2 things. There's the reticular activation system. The reticular activation system constantly scans reality for a match of your most dominant thoughts. So if you choose mediocrity, what happens is you'll choose mediocre friends, and you'll never get anything outside of mediocrity. The other thing is called magnetoreception, and magnetoreception is the same thing that the homing pigeon has. And magnetoreception looks for a match of your most dominant thoughts and attracts that thing to you as you get attracted to it. So if you choose mediocrity first thing in the morning, and if you surround it at morning tea and lunchtime, you'll just keep attracting this. And what will happen is the other filters, the success filters, get shut down. And all you're left is with that magnetoreception of average.
Yep.
And it's a choice. You can choose to have excellence and you will get it. You can choose to have mediocrity and you'll also get it. So it's free will. Absolutely.
There's a good saying, and it's perfect. Again, very short, like the get out your head or you're dead. This one is, you deserve what you settle for. That's it. If you settle for mediocrity, that's what you deserve. If you don't want mediocrity and want to settle for something better, then you'll get something better. So you deserve what you settle for.
I love it. This same thinking, that the same energy to become a success is the same energy to become a failure. It takes a lot of energy to become a failure. It's a strategy.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Interesting. You know, if people just, it is. I had a gentleman on here the other week. He lost half of his body weight And I asked him, I said, if you would have spent that much time eating healthy food as you did bad food, what would have happened? He said, I would have been healthy. It's the flip side of the same coin. You know, he was saying that he got in trouble off his dad. His dad went to bed. He came home and he started shoving these sandwiches down his throat, peanut butter sandwiches, to make himself feel better and to suppress all his negative emotion. That took a lot of energy, so much that he was weighing in, I forget how many pounds it was. Maybe it was like it was 246 kilos.
Whoa.
But if he'd used that energy to chase what he wanted, all that psychic energy, he could have had anything that he wanted. That's the flip side of the same coin.
Absolutely.
Success and failure. Takes a lot of effort to be a failure. Takes a lot of effort to hold yourself back. It takes a lot of effort to constantly look for a match of your self-limiting beliefs and then supporting yourself and finding groups of people to support you in that belief. Just use that energy to find successful people. And, you know, if your career is not where you want it to be, if you're not making the type of money that you want, if you want to have financial and time freedom, and you haven't spoken to Carl yet, it's probably time that you speak to him. Because here's a guy who's got nuggets of gold dropping out of his pockets with all this wisdom. And I encourage you to contact Carl, and if you've got a question about what it takes to transition, speak to him. I'm sure he would welcome with open arms those questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mate, what's the best way you've got a lot of followers here, what's the best way for other people to follow you? How can they get in contact with you? What's the best step for them?
Add me on Facebook. I'm not big on social media, if I'm honest. I've got Facebook, but I need to be bigger on social media. I need to get Instagram and all that sort of stuff, and Twitter and use it. But yeah, just add me on Facebook. A lot of people who are probably on here already on Facebook with me, and yeah, just send a message via Facebook Messenger. And I always try and reply to everyone, you know, because I get quite a lot of messages from people, and I always feel bad if I can't reply, if I'm busy with something. So I'll set aside maybe half an hour every day where I'll go into my inbox in Messenger and I'll reply to everyone who's messaged me. And I'll try and get back to everyone. So yeah, if I don't get back to you straight away, then, you know, bear with it, because I will. I always try and get back to people. So yeah, Facebook Messenger is probably the easiest way.
Amazing. So a couple of big takeaways here before we wrap it up. 3 things. Attitude, 100% in your control. Belief that you can do it. And C is the consistency. These 3 things, repeated over and over, will ensure your success. Now, there was another one there that just jumped out of my mind for a moment, and I think it was, if you're in the head, you're dead. So why don't you take that down on a post-it note, stick it to your forehead, and keep it there each and every day. And you have so much potential inside of you, but it just comes down to you making that decision, having that desire that Carl spoke about, and going out and getting what you truly deserve. So, mate, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, those nuggets of gold. And I believe that if people just take away just a couple of things from today's live, that they can start to transition from a career that they dislike and start to chase their dreams of becoming a business person, working from home, waking up to your wife, your daughter, your son, your family each and every day. I believe if you can do it, they can do it. So I really appreciate your time.
No problem at all, Dan. I appreciate you having me on the call. And for you as well, you know, we've done some work together offline, and some of the things that you've taught me have been, you know, invaluable. They've helped me so much. Even we've only done a little bit of work together, all the things that you have taught me have helped towards where I'm going and helped towards the goals that I've achieved. So, you know, anyone who's not worked with Daniel, you know, reach out to him. He's got some phenomenal things and they can help you too. So, Daniel, thank you for everything that you do.
Cheers, mate. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. So, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and we'll see you on the other side. Ciao for now. Have a good day.
Cheers, guys. Thanks, Daniel.
Thanks, Carl. Thanks, mate.